What's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about Wells Fargo, $3.7 billion for widespread mismanagement of auto loans, mortgages, and deposit accounts. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't have an account with Wells Fargo, so it doesn't matter to me. Let me tell you something that you may not be aware of. Wells Fargo is a national bank, and something that I've seen a lot of these national banks doing lately is that they're underwriting loans for these companies. So you might have these offshoot companies like Green Sky and Blue Tree, or whatever these types of loan companies that are out there, like Lending Tree. But not to say that they're with Lending Tree, but what I'm saying is that these offshoot companies that you see advertised all over the internet, talking about easy loans, that some of them say they don't just look at your credit, that they look at you, all these different types of products that are available to get you to apply for loans, they're underwritten by major banks like Wells Fargo. So right here, CFPB, this is new. This is new. Look at this. CFPB orders Wells Fargo to pay $3.7 billion for widespread mismanagement of auto loans, mortgages, and deposit accounts. There was a young lady that had said that her account got closed by Wells Fargo, and she was like calling them up saying, why did you close my account? And they would never give her answers, and then she got the news involved, and then all of a sudden her account was open. But she went 3 months without being able to utilize the money that was in her account because of a mistake. And look at this. It says deposit accounts, where they were talking about where people, well, let's just read it. Let's read it. And stay with me. Like this video. Put some comments after this. Like, people need to talk about this stuff. Like, for some reason, people are internalizing so much of this news that's out there, and I want to bring it to you. But part of part of the solution is for you to be able to speak out on what you see, so something can be done about it. Like, by us sharing how you see it and how I see it and how other people see it, we can kind of come to some type of consensus on what to do with these types of situations and other types of situations that might come about. Like, it just opens the mind for creative solutions. So that's what we're all talking about with this channel. Now, the company repeatedly misapplied loan payments, wrongfully foreclosed on homes. Could you imagine you're paying on your home and they wrongfully foreclosed on your home? Like, where were the payments going? When they were sending out the sheets saying that, we credited your account for your mortgage, and then now they didn't, they're going to come and try to foreclose on it. I don't even see how that's possible. But I mean, this is what they're saying. Illegally repossessed vehicles. If you're paying on your vehicle every month, you're receiving a statement from Wells Fargo showing that it was credited. And then it'll be like a double whammy if you have a Wells Fargo account and you just transfer the money over to that car payment account to pay on the car, and they still claim that you didn't make the payment. I mean, that would be unbelievable for someone to have to go through that, incorrectly assessing fees and interest. I talked about that in a video where a couple had, and it's not just for these types of accounts with Wells Fargo. I talk about this all the time. What if you're being sued by a payday loan company? We'll just use that example. Or you're being sued by Wells Fargo on your credit card, and you notice that they misrepresented the fees and interest. I always talk about that when we're responding to court summons. It's like, you need to look at what they charged you. See, it's not about you running away from the debt. You have a right to review every part of what they're putting on the table in that court summons. And that could be the original creditor, that could be the debt collector. You can review that. And what I find a lot what I find a lot is what people don't pay attention to, but this is validation right here, is that they incorrectly assess fees and interest because it's very hard for people to figure out. I'm going to make a video again. You can dive through my older videos, but and just type in incorrect interest or fraudulent interest, and you'll see videos that pop up about it. I talk about this all the time. They make it very hard for people to even understand. Even the finance charges on an automobile loan that they do, a lot of the times they don't even equal out. Like if you were just to say, okay, thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Finance person, let's just do my payments on this. And if I pay this payment that you're saying, it's not going to pay off the car in the time frame that you have on this sheet. So they're actually lying to you. This is what Santander was actually doing. Don't take my word on it. You can look at the court case from the 36-state, multi-state settlement that people were paying on their car for 6 years and the car was not paid off. How is that possible? Because they're lying to people. They make it sound, a little bit, quieter than me, but incorrectly assessing fees and interest. Charge surprise overdraft fees, along with other illegal activities affecting over 16 million consumers. If any company was 16 million consumers, 16 million consumers that they were affecting, that means that this is wiping into those companies that they underwrote. Because see, this is the thing that CFPB, they're not going to say it. They're not going to say it, but I'm going to say it. See, this is the thing, is that these banks underwrite loans. These banks make their own rules. The only thing that they have to do when auditors come in from the federal government just to make sure that they're doing the loans right, and we know that that's a problem because you have, redlining and all types of stuff. Those loans are still popping off and still flowing down the channel. So we can see that really they make their own rules. And if they make their own rules and the companies that they're underwriting for, including themselves, go off of their rules, then everybody is like, hey, it's fair game. Because if it all rolls downhill, if I'm just this small company that Wells Fargo is underwriting my loans, if everything breaks down and goes crazy, Wells Fargo is going to end up paying the money. But why does Wells Fargo feel okay with paying $3.7 billion? Well, one of the things that you could do is you can go and look at the videos that I was making during COVID and the videos that I made also when the 2008 crash happened, and see the type of money that these companies were getting. If the federal government is going to hand you $25 billion or $30 billion, and don't quote me, that's not the amount, I'm not sure the amount that Wells Fargo got, but I know that there was some, just off my memory, that had gotten $25 billion of just free taxpayer money. My money, your money, everybody else's money, straight into their account to do whatever they want to do with it. $3.7 billion. And what if they got $10 billion? What is the money that they've made on that? What is the lives that have been hurt when someone came and took your house? When someone came and took your house, what about those? How can you repair that with money? How can you repair someone losing their house, foreclosed on their house, illegally repossessing their vehicle? And some of those were truck drivers. There's a lawsuit going on right now. Truck drivers had their vehicles impounded, and some of those truck drivers, they made their payments. Imagine going to a stop to fuel up, and they have this tow truck company, following the GPS on your truck. And when you go out to go get something to eat or to go take a shower at one of the places to rest up, and you come outside and your truck is gone, your livelihood is gone. You don't know if someone stole it. You don't know what's going on. That lawsuit is in there right now. You can go and look that up. That lawsuit is going down right now for truckers who had their vehicles taken. How can a payment replace losing their home? How can a payment? You got to give me the home. You got to give me the time to get my emotions back intact for however that period of time. You need to give me the money and that time back. And the only way you can do it is you can give me my house, you can give me my money, and you can allow me all of the time that I stressed out before all this stuff came down in court. I need all of that time back. That's what these people need. Illegally repossess their vehicles, coming outside, truckers, regular people coming from work with their kids. It could have been cold outside. It could have been 99 degrees outside. And you come outside and your vehicle is gone and you made the payments. I'm not making this up. This is what they're saying. CFPB orders Wells Fargo to pay $3.7 billion for widespread mismanagement of auto loans, mortgages, and deposit accounts. Right here, repossessed vehicles. If the person pays the payment, how can you repossess the vehicle? If you make a mistake and repossess their vehicle, the penalty needs to be more than just, we can just do, pay some money out. And if you divide $3.7 billion divided by, I believe, they said what, 16 million people? That's pennies. Where is their house in all of this? Now let's look here. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, is ordering Wells Fargo Bank to pay more than $2 billion in redress to consumers and a $1.7 billion civil penalty for legal violations across several of its largest product lines. When I said those companies, those outside companies, when they say product lines, that's what the breakdown is these companies that they underwrite. The bank's illegal conduct led to billions of dollars in financial harm to its consumers for thousands of consumers, the loss of their vehicles and homes. Consumers were illegally assessed fees and interest charges on auto and mortgage loans. Break down what I just said earlier on the auto loans. You pay payments on that for 3, 4, 5 years, however long the term of it was supposed to be, and then you get it and you're like, I'm making my last payment, and then you get a statement back saying you still owe payments. That's because they lied right there. Not my words. That's what CFPB said. Consumers were illegally assessed fees and interest charges on auto and mortgage loans, had their cars wrongfully repossessed, and had payments to auto and mortgage loans misapplied by the bank. Wells Fargo also charged consumers on unlawful surprise overdraft fees and applied other incorrect charges to checking accounts and savings account. Let me just break this part down right here. They were also charged consumers unlawful surprise overdraft fees and applied other incorrect charges to their checking accounts. So they misappropriate the money that was supposed to go to the accounts, and then they're going to charge a fee on that. And trust me, if you make a mistake, the whole world ended. You can't do nothing. They make a mistake with their own paperwork and they don't even want to stand up for it. Under the terms of the order, Wells Fargo will pay redress to over 60 million affected consumer accounts and pay 1.7 billion fine, which will go to CFPB. Where it will be used to provide relief to victims, consumer financial I don't agree with this. They're saying that this is just going into a fund. The company should pay all of the consumer. So we're basically saying that $2 billion is going towards the 13 million, the 16 million consumers. So the money's lowered now. Now the money is sitting in this account. I don't know. Wells Fargo rinse repeat cycle of violating the laws have harmed millions of American families. The CFPB director said CFPB is ordering Wells Fargo to refund billions of dollars to consumers across the country. Is important initial step for accountability and long-term reform. So here we go here. Unlawful repossession of vehicles, bungled borrower accounts. Wells Fargo had systematic failures in the servicing of auto loans that resulted in $1.3 billion in harm. So that's right there across more than 11 million accounts. The bank incorrectly applied borrowers' payments, improperly charged fees and interest, and wrongfully repossessed vehicles. I'm gonna say my part on this on this part right here, because I still don't believe that the CFPB, unless they're just not expressing it the way that I would want it to be expressed, I don't think that they're really understanding what this is all about. What this is about, they said that they incorrectly applied. Maybe they have to say it that way because they don't want to just say that someone did it on purpose. But I can tell you what from the Santander case, what it was that the auto dealers, because they wanted to sell the car, they know the rules that Santander, which is a subprime auto lender, they knew the rules, the template, so to speak, on if you want to get that car financed, it needs to look like this. The person's application needs to look like this. The car needs to look like this. And they submitted it and it was always approved. But here's the problem. These lenders don't make money on people with good credit or excellent credit, because those people are more educated on saying, hey, I'm just walk away the deal, because that don't look right to me. But they get you so emotional. I want that car, I want that thing, I gotta have it. And the people just, the paperwork, I'm just signing. And yeah, that's something that they shouldn't do, but they should not lie to you on the document. If you can simply add up your payments, like bare minimum, add up your payments. And if it does not equal to pay off that vehicle or whatever you're getting in the time frame that they're saying, there's something wrong with the interest and the finance charges that they're charging you. They're lying to you about it. Improperly denied mortgage modifications during at least 7-year period of taking people's homes. So people modified their mortgages. That means that they modified them and they still kept making payments, and they came and foreclosed on their properties. Next one, illegally charged surprise overdraft fees. For years, Wells Fargo unfairly charged surprise overdraft fees charged even though consumers had enough money in their account. You got enough money in your account, you write a check goes through, and they charge you a fee. Is this reverse banking? Is this called reverse banking? Like if you bounce a check, they charge you 2 fees, and then if you write a check and you had the money in there, they charge you a fee anyways. I don't even know how this would even qualify them to continue having a license to be a bank, to do that. Like, there should be someone in every one of the banks, like a consumer representative. Every time a check came through, they should have like some type of a beacon that goes out that says they did not charge a fee, and this person had the money in their account. Like, I don't even know how you stop a bank from doing that if they've done that before, and it took all of these years. How long did it take? As early as 2015, they were talking about this. So it's 7 years later, about to be 8 years later. I mean, that's a lot of fees getting hit. And how many people just didn't have it within them to speak out? I mean, just think about that. Next thing, unlawfully frozen consumer accounts and misrepresented fees waivers. Remember I told you about the lady who said her account was frozen? for no reason and didn't even have a reason for it. Like they froze that lady's account. More than 1 million consumers based on a faulty automated filter determination that they may have been a fraudulent deposit, even when it could have been taken other action that would have not harmed the consumer. So at my bank, at one of the banks that I'm with, they have this thing called Know Your Customer. Because of 9/11, because of what happened in the 2016 election with the Russians and all the stuff that they were doing and making accounts and shifting money to different people, now the banks have to do this thing called Know Your Customer. And if you are a high deposit individual, you have to be very careful. Even though you're legit, you have to be very careful. And you need to go in and sit down with your banker, and they have to see you face to face. They call it Know Your Customer. At least the bank that I'm at call it Know Your Customer. I have a friend of mine who owns several retail establishments. He owns tobacco stores, cell phone stores, restaurant, and one of his accounts, they gave him 30 days to close the account and move to another bank. And it was simply because he was putting too much cash in there, not enough credit card transaction. Can you believe that? So what you have to do, and for him to be able to open up the new account, he had to sit down and have them come do a site visit at his place just to make sure that he wasn't doing anything illegal. This is where we're at with this stuff. But even with people who do not make a lot of money, you can we saw people that walked into a bank and they had a check where, you know, they just didn't have an account, or they didn't have a lot of money and they wanted to cash their check at their bank. And people at the banks were saying, oh, you must be a fake. You know, this is a fraudulent check. I mean, this is where we're at, people. So they're going to do what they're going to do. You know, this states what they're going to stop doing, you know, but so Wells Fargo repeated, this is some other stuff that they were doing, and you know that they were doing all of this stuff here. They were doing all of this stuff here with underwriters, like the bank wasn't directly doing it with most of that stuff. So I just want to make you aware of this. You might be going through something similar with your bank. Maybe you have a Wells Fargo account. You need to really review it to make sure you're not being hit with fees that you shouldn't be hit with. I'm going to be making more videos about financial education. You know, I'm not a conspiracy type person. Well, I won't say that I'm not conspiracy. I've toned myself down on the conspiracy type stuff because I see that it's like running crazy. Like, I'm one of the early ones from the 90s, and I see how this stuff then kind of went up with the internet. And so what I want to do is I want to be what's called a conspiracy realist. That means that I'm going to tell you the real, and I'm going to tell you what you need to do. And even if it hurts, it's going to hurt. If it's not going to hurt, it's not going to hurt, but I'm going to be the real. I'm always a real, but I guess I'm going to get realer, because sometimes I do hold back because I don't want people to get upset. But when we have stuff like this going on, we have to be very proactive in what we do. We have to be very intentional in what we do. All right, thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel. Please post your questions and comments. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video what makes us different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. We do not promise credit repair overnight. It's a process, and listen to what my words say. When you go to that video, there is a credit repair process. There's a 2-phase settlement process that is potential. That's the way that we repair credit. If you don't want to do it that way, please choose someone else. If you need your credit reports and scores, because it's very important to know what's going on with your credit reports, go to the website, your3scores.com. Links are below this video. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters: debt validation, cease and desist, collection activities letter, and statute of limitations letter. Those 3 will help you early in the game when you're dealing with debt collection companies. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the CreditRepairShop.com.